All right, you guys are going to love this. I'm super excited about lead scoring from messenger bots. So not only can we do lead scoring, but we can take action immediately based on the lead score. So I'm going to start at the end by showing you guys what can actually be done. So if you see on my phone right now, and I hope you do, oh, this is a test message. That's not what I want you to see. Jeremy Dunn is a hot lead. Get in touch now. Okay, we can customize this message even more. If we had his cell phone number, that could be right there. No problem. Email, same deal. But talk about from marketing to sales immediately. This is how to do it. Okay? And on top of all that, if they're a hot lead, and we want to send them something immediately, right? Because maybe our sales guy can't get to the phone right away. So even though he's got this text, maybe we send him an email as well. And the email hasn't come through yet, but that's okay. Then we email our sales team. We give them texts. We can alert them as much as we want, but we can also send the lead a specific message because they're an awesome lead. Or maybe they aren't a fit. And so then we go back to them and say, I'm very sorry, but it doesn't sound like this is a good fit. Now, there are endless possibilities for this thing. Now, I'm going to walk you through the lead scoring we have set up for Nielsen Marketing, a client of mine. They're an insurance marketing company. So they help insurance agencies attract leads and customers. And they do websites, SEO, and all that great stuff. They do a great job if you're an insurance company, but they only work with certain sizes of insurance companies. Well, I shouldn't say that. They only work with a certain class of clients, right? And that's what we've designed this lead qualifying quiz to do. So we have a bot in ManyChat. So a client would go through, and we have an educational sequence and other things that they're designed to get them into the qualifying quiz. But let's say they choose 1 through 5. Now before, what we'd have to do is we'd have to go through 1 through 5, we'd create a message, and then we'd take them on down through the rest of the pass. Then we'd go back, we'd go 6 through 10, let's copy what we did through 1 through 5, we'd clone it, and then take them down through the pass. But you can see as soon as we add in questions, there are so many possibilities and branches, it just doesn't work. But now with Zapier, we can do this no problem. You don't have to decide there's one key question that this turns on. We're going to alert sales if they meet one criteria. No, we can actually score the lead and do it really well. Now, if you do have a lead scoring software that you use, you can probably hook it up through Zapier. I know actually Zapier has it baked in, and they use Mad Kudo, which I've heard great things, by the way. No affiliation, but you pay for it, obviously, and Zapier's version is kind of the Mad Kudo Lite, and it doesn't always have enough data or information. It's not amazing, right? And it's not designed to be. It's a stopgap, but we can do it ourselves, and that's what I'm going to show you. So the end result is the customer gets some sort of content, and we take care of them right away. We alert our sales team, and as you guys probably know, the faster you can respond to an interested lead, the more likely you are to close them. And if you don't respond quickly, I think the stat's kind of ridiculous, actually. I think it's like 5 minutes. I would have to look it up. But if you don't close them in a pretty darn short period of time, or get in touch with them, then the chances of you closing them go down dramatically, right? So let's do this thing. So first, you would set up your sequence in ManyChat, right? And what we're going to do for each one of these is we're going to save the answer to a custom field. There are a couple ways you can set up this custom field. Now, if you want it to be clear, so here we're setting agency size to 1 through 5, but we don't have to have the answer or the value of the custom field be the same as the answer that they're giving, or the button title, right? So we can change this to whatever we want. We could still set this to 1 through 5. So I would suggest, even better than setting this through the value here to 1 through 5, set it to the value you assign to that answer. Okay? So for Nielsen marketing, if somebody says, I only work in a company of 1 through 5 people, that's a low value answer. In fact, I would probably give that a 0. Now, your lead scoring, you should probably do it on a scale of 1 through 5 or 1 through 10, however you prefer. And then eventually we'll convert that over into a percentage either way. So I would say probably a 1 through 10 scale is fine. And we can always weight these differently, but that's going to happen in the Google Sheet. So assign a custom field to it. So set the value. In this case, I would probably do 0, except I'm going to leave it as is because I've already set this up. And you're going to keep going down through your lead qualifying sequence and doing that. Once you have the lead qualifying sequence done, create a Google Sheet before we even mess with Zapier. And this Google Sheet is going to contain any pertinent information. So first name, last name, ManyChat ID. Okay, so you're going to set up these headers, and then after that, after you get kind of standard information that you want, create a column for each question. And once you have this set up, please leave it alone. Otherwise, it is a big pain in the ass to go back when you have this already set up, and Zapier is going to reference specific cells and columns to put the answers in. It's a pain. And I've done this. This is why you see 10 million and 5 million here on his specialty, because I screwed this up and I added a column. Once it's set, leave it alone. You're safe to add to the end of it, but do not mess with the order or add columns in the middle of what you've already set up. It'll, it'll be a pain in the ass to mess with later. Okay? Now, so here's what happens. So if somebody comes into the lead qualifying sequence, and we're going to preview this for you, and we're just going to jump over to Messenger. Now you can see this is me, Nick Julia, right? My company size, I've chosen 6 through 10. But, here we go. So yeah, let's start this sequence. So whenever somebody either answers this, if they've either answered previously, it's going to update the field, or it's going to create it if they haven't. So let's go change that through 20 plus. And if we check, there you go. So it's dynamic. It's going to update based on the answers. And it's going to keep going through that. Okay? So let me show you how to set this up in Zapier and how I've done it. And then we'll talk about actually scoring the lead and then taking actions based on that. So we're going to do all of that, and hopefully not too long. Okay? So first things first, we want to capture, at least in this case, I want to capture every single person that comes into the bot. How do we do that? Real simple. We set up a Zap that sends from ManyChat a new subscriber. Any new subscriber, we're going to create a new spreadsheet row. Real simple. Okay, so once you've done that, so you're going to choose your spreadsheet, your worksheet, set up any of the information you can get from ManyChat that you want, right? And you may not have all of the fields, you're not going to yet, that you've set up, but just set up the base here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go into the particular question. Now you can only do this one question at a time. Just kind of a pain, but it is what it is. So let's go to company size. Now, if somebody comes into ManyChat and is a new or updated custom field, that's why we saved everything to custom fields. Then what's going to happen is we have to choose that one custom field. This is why we can only update one at a time. So one custom field per Zap. All right. A little tedious, but it's worth it. So from there, we're going to update. So if this custom field is updated, we're going to take an action. And that action is we're first going to search the spreadsheet, because we captured everybody in here. And everybody for right now is 2 people. In fact, I'm probably going to delete or blur that guy's name out. Actually, there's really no identifying information. But anyway, so let's keep going. So we have our ManyChat custom field. We're going to look up the person, and we're going to look them up by a unique identifier. And that identifier is the ManyChat ID. That's why that's there. It's better than email because email, I have a couple of them, right? So I could choose several emails. So that would create a new person, a new Nick Julia every time I updated the email, which is not what we want. So the unique identifier is going to be the ManyChat ID. And by the way, what could you use this for? This could be awesome for a SaaS company, or like, for example, for SaaS, if you had a B2B SaaS, right? And you have a higher end offering and a lower end. The lower end could be self-service, and the higher end, like concierge, white glove, we do everything for you. How do you know? So if a great lead comes through, we know, all right, sales, got to contact him, got to put him in touch right away. Let's take care of this guy. Not so great lead that is going to spend the bare minimum. Let's send him to the self-service. Let's be helpful and let's get him there and then make sure he enjoys it and can use our product really well. But he's a fit for self-service. So this lead scoring can be great for all sorts of companies, even if you don't have a live sales team necessarily, right? There are lots of applications here. So let's keep going. Now, once we've looked up this person, so we're going to say, all right, let's find this guy that just updated the agency field. So how do we do this? We're going to look them up. So the lookup column is ManyChat ID, and the value is the user ID. Okay, that's the ManyChat ID. Then we're going to update the spreadsheet row. And you can see here, again, we've chosen the custom value because that custom value is based on the spreadsheet lookup here in this step 2. Okay. And it kind of helps you auto-populate this stuff. So if we go step 2, it just says row. And that's going to come from this lookup right here. Okay. So that part's pretty easy because we've done this lookup. And then it's just going to update, and we have to choose the field to update. Company size, that's what I named it on the spreadsheet, and that updates with our custom field, agency size. And that is it. So once somebody does that, they come in, it updates the list. They keep going down through the sequence, right? So let's choose, what do I have on here? So my premium, I think I chose is 5 million. Let's choose a different premium so you can see. Let's choose it as 10 million plus. And you can see right now, this is going, come on now. I should have updated, except, there we go. I just had to reload it. So 10 million plus, there you go. And like I said, I updated this field, so I've got to go back in ManyChat and make sure that, or not ManyChat, in Zapier, that's correct. But let's watch. If I refresh these fields, it might change. No, we're okay. So I did something incorrectly, and I don't know what. That's quite interesting. But company size, agency size, I don't know why it's decided that, let's refresh one more time. So it's interesting that it's actually putting it under specialty. So there's something going on there that's kind of strange, but I'll have to figure it out. So for now, I'm just going to move this because I can always choose this later. Now let's try this again, just out of curiosity. And so you guys can see, right? Like this definitely isn't, like it's easy to set up, but you're going to have some speed bumps along the way, just how it is. All right, so let's continue. Good to go. And we can view the spreadsheet row, Jeremy done, row 3, all that good stuff. Finish, and the zap's on. Cool. So we do that for every single question that we have. The reason we can only do it for one is because this trigger can only be triggered by one custom field. Okay, so if you have 6 questions, that's going to be 6 apps. Then, once we have this set up, now it's time to actually score based on that. So if you have this set up already, so if company size, I didn't put 20 plus, but instead I just assigned the lead value to that. Right, so we're going to save a different value. If that was just a value, it'd be easier to compute right here, right away. But if we want to see what our answers were at a glance, then in that case, it makes sense to keep the values as the answers. And then we're going to have to do some calculations. Okay, so oops, it doesn't like that I changed the field. Interesting. So I'm going to just change this back because it'd be easier to show you. So here's the deal. So for the calc size, we're going to say, look, if H2, this field, equals 1 through 5, then this lead is worth 0 points on our scale. Comma, if it's not, then we're going to have another if statement. Then it's going to check, okay, so it doesn't match this criteria as true, so let's have another if statement. And you're going to keep creating if statements in the value if false until you're done with all of your questions. So again, if it matches 6 through 10, we're going to assign it a score of 1. If it doesn't, we're going to keep checking down these if statements. All right, and we're going to do this for all the questions. You're going to come up, you're going to sum these, and then you're going to get the percentage of the total that it is. Okay, so if a lead scores 70%, in this case we're choosing arbitrarily, right? Because you're going to have to choose if a lead matches like good criteria 72% of the time or more, then what do we want to do? Or maybe your threshold is, all right, anybody above 60 we're going to consider a hot lead. That is totally up to you, right? So for Nielsen, we're creating 3 levels of leads, basically cold, medium, and hot. Now, can we do something a whole lot more sophisticated than this? Yes. You can weight values, you can do a lot of stuff, but bottom line, this is tons better than what most people have right out of the box. Like when have you heard of a company doing this through email? Or how do you score leads? Well, you maybe get their email, then the software is going to take some calculations. They could be accurate, they maybe aren't accurate. You have their answers right here, right? And we're just calculating our own, which is perfectly fine. Now, I have this lead score auto. This can actually be populated by Zapier. You can set up a Zap to use the automated lead scoring by them, which again is fine, and it can be a consideration you take into account in your lead scoring here if you want. But I would suggest don't rely on it unless you have like an actual account. And I hear Mad Kudu is pretty awesome. That's how Zapier lead scoring gets done. It's kind of Mad Kudu light. So of course, this would take all of this setup out of there probably for you. But so let's say we get this lead. He scores 70% or above. What do we do? So like I showed you in the beginning, we can send our sales team messages right away. But maybe we also want to send the lead something. So we're going to come back to Zapier and we're going to go, okay, if this lead is a hot lead, so a hot lead follow-up, what do we want done? Well, how do we know it's a hot lead? We're going to say, look, based on this field, we're going to filter it now, okay? Because there's no filter here. We can't choose anything. We're just going to say if something is updated in the Google spreadsheet, right? And there are other common options, but we're going to want a row that's updated. if that row is updated, it's got to match certain criteria, and that criteria is the hot lead criteria. So if the column that our hot lead is in, it matches exactly hot or whatever you set it up as, we could have taken that 70%, and we can always choose, right? If the number is greater than, in this case, 69 or something like that, then we're going to take an action. And here, we're subscribing them to a sequence, and that sequence, right? So we're going to do the same. We're going to do it based on the custom value of the ManyChat ID that's updated, and we're going to subscribe them to the hot lead follow-up. And that could be like, all right, they've done this, their lead qualifying quiz, they've gotten a high score. Now, in another 2 minutes, let's come back to them and make them a little bit of an incentivized offer, because we know they're awesome. At the same time, we're also going to send an email to our sales guy or sales team. That's just randomly my email. And we're also, like I showed you on my phone, and here's all of this, it says Nielsen Marketing, but also we're also going to send a text to our sales guy, like, get in touch with this dude. Come on. So for this, we just set up with the fields. He's a hot lead, get in touch. But we have other things we can do. So if we ended up having his email, right, or we can also include maybe the live chat ID, which would be awesome. So our sales dude from his phone can actually click that and go into the back end, of course, of ManyChat, and you'll see an open conversation, right? Because we'll trigger that in the bot, but a conversation, and then he can just type in, hey, saw that, man, I can't type, saw that, whatever. So we can do a whole lot of stuff. This is great. So not only can we hand this off to sales, but we can also follow up immediately with our lead. And when I say immediately, with these apps, they actually run every 5 minutes. So within 5 minutes, and probably under, we're going to follow up with the lead in ManyChat, send them particular content that tells them, okay, you're a great fit for, our self-serve. You're a great fit for, our concierge service. Look, if these guys are doing 10 million plus, I know Nielsen wants to get in touch right away, but it doesn't have to be based on just that, right? Because before, if somebody answered my first question, like how many people work in your company, 1 through 5, maybe they just throw that out right away. But if they're doing 10 million plus with a 1 through 5 person business, all right, we still have a great lead. So I hope you guys see the possibilities with this. If you need some help with it, this is me, mindheroes.com. It's mind, H-E-R-O-S. There's no E. Yes, it's misspelled. I know. But it is what it is. If you need some help with setting this up, I hope you guys use this, because this opens up a whole lot of possibilities for you and your customers. All right, get in touch. Facebook, again, is Mind Heroes. You can look me up. And if you want to friend me personally, it's Nick Julia. Here we go. Nick Julia, San Francisco. That is me. All right, friends. Talk to you soon.